Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government has a brand new app. Here's a preview as to how it works. That's right. Local is the name of the app, and this morning I want to welcome the acting permanent secretary at the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government, Peter Mitchell. I also want to welcome digital strategist of the same, Emeka Faria. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are we doing this morning?
Very good, thank you.
Nice, love that. So, Mr. Mitchell, let's start with you. Tell us the need for this app. Why was it so important to get this app launched and off the ground?
Okay, before let me start by saying good morning to you and your viewers and giving us the opportunity to explain the local app. Let's take it at a high level. The government of Trinidad and Tobago, as you know, has Vision 2030, and among the thematic areas is good governance and service excellence, which indicates that the public service has to transform itself to better respond to the needs of the citizens and to the general public, and also in terms of getting feedback. So one of the things that the ministry, under the guidance of the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, was looking at is people have always found it difficult to report issues to their respective municipal corporations. They use the phone and they try to call and so forth. One of the things we try to do is to not only improve our service delivery to the populations through the municipal corporations, but also to give people a part in terms of seeing development as it is.
Right.
So that covers thematic area one, which is good governance and service excellence. The other one is quality infrastructure. It forms part of the government's digital transformation program, which is spearheaded by the Ministry of Digital Transformation. That ministry deals with a whole of government approach.
Right.
So what we are looking at the ministry is a more sectoral approach. We're looking at the local government sector as part of the overall national digital transformation strategy led by the ministry and the Honorable Minister of Digital Transformation. So what we are trying to do is create certain infrastructures that will allow the population to interact more with their government agencies. Now, the biggest thing, let's take, for example, potholes. You see a pothole and so forth. Emeka will go through the technical details for you. They take a picture on it, they load it up to the app. But of course, you answer some questions, like one thing you have to know which region you're living in. If you're in Sawa, Sawa Lavantil. If you're in San Fernando City, Port of Spain City, Diego Martin, and so forth. And then there's a back end that will take it and relay that information to the municipal corporation. And then, of course, you will be able to track your complaint or to track your issues. And that will allow you to find out where it is and so forth, and you'll get feedback and so forth. Also, we are working with TN Tech and WASA. And what's the other one?
Ministry of Works.
And Ministry of Works, of course, for the major roads. And then, so when you upload a complaint, because you know, the public doesn't, when you're reporting a complaint, the public doesn't sit down and think, which agency should I report this thing to?
Yeah, you just want to make noise about it?
Yeah, you want to make noise, right. So what you do is you use the local app. We will take upon ourselves, look at the complaint, find out what level it is, and know which agency it goes to. TN Tech is very enthusiastic about it because not reporting power outage, I want to make that clear. TN Tech has its own processes for that. But if a tree falls on a TN Tech pole or lines are down and it's blocking your road and so forth, we'll be able to relay that information very quickly to it. So our own digital transformation program within the ministry is for the local government sector. And it's part of our overall local government reform, people, processes, plant, and machinery. That is how we're approaching it. We're doing a lot of work in disaster management, so that is one of the things. And this also helps with disaster management because one of the app allows you to is report flooding as it happens. Normally, we will get information when people are already marooned. But when you see the water rising and you take a picture and you load it up, we'll be able to respond quickly. We can get our DMU of the respective corporation to respond to it, and then our central DMU at Port of Spain. We have an emergency operations center at Port of Spain. We'll coordinate that, and we can redeploy equipment because we have equipment with the ministries for that.
Of course. So let me jump across to you, Emiko. How long has this app been in development?
Approximately 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, heavy.
Because I know people have been saying, they see the Ministry of Digital Transformation and they hear about this digital transformation that's supposed to be coming and they don't know what's happening. So I'm really happy that you guys have come on this morning to be able to share some of this information. So what does it take to develop an app like this?
Well, aside from sheer, I guess, will and desire, to be honest, because the public sector, developing something like this, the public sector is difficult. But outside of that, essentially, it's just resource. That's something that the PS and the minister provided in order to execute a project like this. They, gave the resources that was necessary, be it HR and technical and otherwise. So even the infrastructure of the platform is built on Google, for instance. Yeah.
Oh, you mean it's built on Google?
So what I mean by that is the backend infrastructure. So where we have concerns concerning security and data privacy issues, these things don't really exist. Because we are actually using big players like Google for that.
For the security aspect of things.
Exactly. So that helps circumvent a lot of the hard work, that we would have had to do. But aside from that, essentially.
But shouldn't there be a concern about giving these big players, these big American companies, these access to our local ministry apps and the security there?
So no, because these companies have certain policies in place. Yeah, and certain infrastructure for government institutions. Yeah, so that's taken care of. A lot of these things are out of box, essentially. Notwithstanding, of course, the work that has to be done from a programming standpoint, a coding standpoint, that's still, the onus is still on us.
So I love that because, all right, so we have the coding down, we secure it and we make sure that it's safe, right? Tell me how it works in terms of when somebody makes a report, the PS would have mentioned that we take a picture of a pothole, you upload it, you put the information in, so Sour Regional Corporation or Sour Lavantil, right? So Sour Lavantil, right? I see this pothole here, X marks this spot. What happens then from a digital perspective?
Right, so the application actually takes your geolocation, right? So we have the latitude and longitude and the exact location of where you're reporting this issue from. So that allows us now to then send resources there expediently to verify and also perhaps even rectify the issue. So once it comes in, we have CSRs in the back end, customer service reps. They see the report and the report goes through a 4-phase process. It's a first received. From there, the CSR vets it to ensure that the content is good. It could be on the platform, and it's actually true. Once it's vetted, they apply a tag to it to the necessary institution that it should go to. And from there, they make it public. And now you could see it in the application.
So that's just where the tracking you were talking about.
Yeah, so there we are in the review and assigned phase of the process. From there, it goes to in progress. That's when action is being taken and finally completed.
Now, you mentioned that there's some challenges when it comes to doing this in the public sector, especially. I don't know what your challenges that you're referring to are, and I'm not sure I want to find out yet, but I do know that we often have challenges when it comes to communicating between various agencies. How are we mitigating the CSRs? Yeah, they might say, yeah, tagging it and sending it to WASA to fix. But how do we ensure that WASA is on top of it, for example?
Yeah, so let me just draw back a bit. This phase of the launch is crowdsourced data gathering. This is phase 1. Yeah.
What does that mean?
So what that means is we are focused on getting data of issues so that we can make strategic decisions, right? And how to approach it, how to solve it. That's phase 1. Phase 2 of this is actually to resolve the issue, right? So we need to actually go back and do business process re-engineering. We need to look at the stakeholders, get them much more heavily involved, understand their process for resolving issues.
The stakeholders being the citizens or the stakeholders being the various ministries?
The ministries, institutions. So this is software development, technology development is really an iterative process. So we have to take the approach of phases because we want to get it right.
Of course. So for this first phase, what you're saying is that people just reporting. You want people to report as much as possible so that you'll have an idea as to how much data is coming in.
Exactly.
And how to work with that data.
Precisely, yeah, and make strategic decisions.
And how long before we get to phase 2?
So I would say no later than probably 8 months or thereabout. It should be possible. Now, in order for that to be achieved, we have to work very closely with Ministry of Digital Transformation, iGovTT in particular, because they have that locus across government sector where it comes to digital infrastructure and so on. So it will be heavily, I think, it'll be very important for us to have them with us, which we do. Which we do. But just saying that to get to that phase 2, that work with them is extremely important.
Is there a phase 3?
Not at this exact time.
I just checked it. So phase 1 is getting the information. Phase 2 will be figuring out how we resolve the information properly.
Exactly, from a back-end and logistics perspective.
Let me chat with you, PS. In terms of getting the CSRs, in terms of getting people on board, this sounds like you have to employ more people at the ministry to be able to do these jobs. Or are we taking people away from certain tasks?
Right, okay. That is getting one of the awesome responsibilities of a PS. How do I manage my resources?
Exactly.
The ministry has a day-to-day function, and you cannot take people away from that day-to-day function because, the
ministry has to run.
Yeah, the ministry has to run. I have a public service staff, and I have a contract staff, and they have day-to-day function. For example, my IT unit has to manage our network right now, and so forth.
And then add this
to it.
Right.
So there is a project team that works with EMICA behind the scenes, a good bit of, a nice bunch of young people, because they are driving the process. They don't give me headache as much, except when they need more money, then that is where I have
that's where the headache does always come.
So EMICA's team, which the CRSR belongs to, he has a software development team, he has a business analyst team that is working with him as the digital strategist. My role right now is when the project team do their proof of concept and they present it to me and the minister, and we say thumbs up. My role now is to look at sustainability, because EMICA may move on to another project, whether in government or whatever. Right now I'm considering how do I make this sustainable and permanent going forward, because this is not a shiny toy for a particular moment.
But it ought not to be.
No, it's a serious issue. And the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government, because we learned our lessons from that disaster management situation we had in 2018 when the ministry had to coordinate and realized where the gaps were. Right? So I know I have to beef up my IT unit as well as my other units that will support this and so forth. So interestingly, I know people in the Ministry of Digital Transformation. I worked with them before when I was at a previous ministry. I know the National Chief Digital Officer, Mr. Nakid, and his team. So we will be collaborating. I spoke to him just last week, and we'll be collaborating with them to make it more sustainable. And of course, as EMICA said, iGovTT is the state's implementing agency for all things digital. And so we have that. So my role is to make sure EMICA and his team has the resources, and EMICA's role is to give me something that works and works well.
But so my question is, then, EMICA, your team is just to implement it, to start it up, not to continue running it. And I ask this because I know oftentimes with most apps, all things on our phones get updated constantly. So as the bugs come or as they see something that might need an improvement, we get an update. How do we plan to put that in place if it is you only here for the beginning? What's the process to going forward after EMICA is finished with phase 2?
EMICA's team will stay on, as he said, is 8 to 9 months for the phase 1, and then there's phase 2. During that time, we'll be looking at how we restructure the IT unit. I will have to go out to do applications for interviews for various positions. I'm reviewing that right now. And there are other units, but also bear in mind that we have to beef up the municipal corporations as well. So we are looking at what their new org structures are going to be like post local government reform. And one of the things we can do for the very first time is to make sure that every municipal corporation have their own IT unit. Right? Some of them have IT units based on persons in the corporation who are knowledgeable in IT and so forth. It's a more informal process. And a couple of them have standalone IT units.
Nice, fantastic. Well, gentlemen, let me say thank you very much for joining us this morning. And congratulations on this app. We look forward to finishing phase 1 and getting into phase 2 to be able to properly access it and get the results that we're looking for. So I hope that you guys come back in to give us the update as to how phase 1 went before we launch into phase 2.
Perfect.
Thank you so very much.